Okay, so this is part two of my last video on Fukushima, basically. I kind of didn't explain the remainder of it about why it's difficult for the Japanese to then send us a tidal wave. Now, the other thing is, living on the West Coast, we had threats of a tidal wave in the past 2 years coming from either the Japanese or Chinese. Now, that just could be the Illuminati agreeing internationally to do such a thing because they have international agreements to sometimes do such things. Hence why in the movie The Fifth Wave, it's kind of like, you know, that I guarantee you that army that took over, well, they didn't make it clear that the army in that movie was an international force. They kind of made you think it's an American force. So anyway, but most likely it would be an international agreement to do such a thing. So anyway, the reason why it's difficult, let's get back on topic. The reason why it's difficult to send a wave in one direction, why the Japanese might have issues with doing that, is it's because the mountain range that they lifted has to be a precise tectonic plate. It's got to be the same latitude as Japan is, because in order to hit it like that, you have to have it on the same latitude as that country, and you have to find just the right mountain range and/or plate that's capable of moving like that. So they did their homework possibly on finding like what would move in that exact direction and move that way and not cause a tidal wave to come back towards the west coast of America or to Mexico. And now the other reason why this would be difficult for the Japanese to do is that they don't have the resources. They have weather manipulation stuff most likely. Yes, they do, but they don't have as much as the American side does, because we have a HARP array even off the coast of Mexico that isn't in American territory. It's owned by us basically, and it's used to manipulate the weather because we saw an eye of a hurricane coming forward towards Baja California drop out of it, you know, which is impossible to do, right? It's impossible for an eye of it was either tropical storm or hurricane a number of years ago. I can find out which one if you want, or eventually I'll find out which one. The eye of the hurricane itself dropped out, and that doesn't happen usually, right? So anyway, and that was from a HARP array nearby. So anyway, long story short, that's kind of like the Japanese kind of lack they don't have enough phone towers, they don't have enough Doppler, they don't have enough radar stations and or electromagnetic waves flowing through the air to really make the wind go in one direction like we would, because we have that infrastructure developed. Because NASA let us know too, they gave us some hints a while ago. They have an internal document called Controlling the Weather by 2020. There it goes. Yes, that's what it's called. It's called Controlling the Weather by 2020 or Owning the Weather. But no, it's actually called, my mistake, it's called Owning the Weather by 2020. It's a NASA internal document. And so anyway, that's the part of the video I didn't explain on the last video, so I'm going to cut this video off, and I hope you have a great day.